As we delve deeper, you'll meet historians and archaeologists who have dedicated their lives to uncovering what happened. In the quiet corners of libraries and the dust-covered grounds of Roanoke Island, they search for clues, piecing together fragments of history. What secrets lie hidden beneath the earth, and can modern technology reveal truths that have eluded generations? Hey, ever-curious friends! Tonight we step into one of America's oldest unsolved mysteries, the Lost Colony of Roanoke. Picture it 1587, more than 100 settlers arrive on the shores of Roanoke Island in present-day North Carolina, filled with hope of building a new life. Yet only 3 years later, when their governor John White returns, the colony is empty. No bodies, no struggle, just one chilling clue carved into a post Croatoan. What happened to them? Did they starve, flee, assimilate with locals, or meet a darker fate? Tonight we'll explore the evidence, theories, and latest discoveries tracing a story over 4 centuries in the making.
Ever curious, learn what you love.
The story begins with Sir Walter Raleigh, an ambitious Englishman granted a royal charter by Queen Elizabeth I. His mission, establish a colony in the New World to expand English power and counter Spain's influence. In 1584, his men scouted Roanoke Island and saw fertile land and promising alliances with the Algonquian people. 2 attempts followed. The first colony, led by Ralph Lane in 1585, struggled with food shortages and hostile relations. When Sir Francis Drake passed by in 1586, they abandoned the settlement and returned home. But Raleigh wasn't finished. He believed England needed a permanent foothold in America. In 1587, a new expedition set sail under Governor John White. This group included families, 117 men, women and children, hoping for permanence rather than a military outpost. This symbolized hope and a future for England overseas. Among them was White's own daughter, Eleanor Dare, who gave birth to Virginia Dare, the first English child born in America. Still, they planted roots on Roanoke. The settlers faced challenges, immediately supply shortages, strained relations with some tribes, and unfamiliar terrain. John White soon had to return to England for more supplies, promising he'd be back swiftly. That promise, however, was delayed. Upon reaching the shores of Roanoke, John White found the settlement eerily deserted, the once bustling homes now overgrown and silent. The heart of every hope he had harbored crumbled as he discovered only an empty cradle marked with the chilling word Croatoan carved into a tree. Echoes of the past whispering tales of the vanished colonists. John White left behind his family, including his newborn granddaughter. Yet when he arrived in England, war with Spain disrupted his plans. The Spanish Armada loomed in 1588, and every ship was needed for defense. White pleaded for a vessel to resupply his people, but England's survival came first. Years dragged on. Imagine his torment, knowing loved ones were across the ocean dependent on his return, while storms of politics and war tied his hands. At last, in 1590, 3 years after departure, White secured passage back to Roanoke, filled with both dread and hope. What he found became legend. Years passed, and whispers of the lost settlers lingered in the air, woven into the fabric of local legends. Speculation arose about their fate, some believing they had been captured, while others thought they integrated with nearby tribes. The name Croatoan echoed through time, becoming synonymous with one of America's most enduring mysteries. Generations later, historians and archaeologists would still seek clues, but the truth remained elusive, buried beneath layers of time and uncertainty. When White landed in 1590, the settlement was eerily silent. Houses dismantled, fences removed, belongings gone. But no bones, no bodies, no battle debris. On a post, a single word was carved Croatoan. On another tree, the letters CRO. White had agreed with settlers to carve a cross if they left under duress, but none was found. To White, this suggested they relocated willingly. He tried to sail south to Croatoan Island, modern Hatteras, but storms forced retreat. White never saw his family again. The fate of Virginia Dare and the others became one of history's haunting enigmas. As researchers pore over historical records, the potential pathways of the settlers become clearer, revealing the complexities of their choices. The aged map illustrates where they might have traveled, highlighting interactions with neighboring tribes, both friendly and hostile. The haunting landscape of abandoned homes speaks volumes of the lives once lived there, now lost to time, leaving behind only questions about their fate. Scientists have since studied tree rings from that era, revealing an extreme drought struck the region from 1587 to 1589, the worst in 800 years. Such conditions would devastate crops and fuel conflict over resources with nearby tribes. Food shortages, thirst, and disease may have plagued the settlers, forcing them to seek survival elsewhere. Yet the absence of graves or remains makes this theory incomplete. Did they scatter into smaller groups to survive, or did they find refuge with neighboring tribes more willing to help? Hunger is a powerful force, but mystery lingers in what followed. Another idea emerges from the era's politics. Spain, England's fierce rival, controlled much of the Americas. Could Spanish raiders from Florida have wiped out the colony to undermine England's expansion? The Anglo-Spanish War raged during these years. Yet no evidence, no burned buildings, no corpses, no weapon fragments supports a massacre. White found signs of dismantling, not destruction. If the Spanish struck, they left strangely little behind. Many historians dismiss this explanation, noting that the Spanish likely would have documented such a victory. Silence from Spain's records suggests this wasn't their doing, but doubts linger even today. Some historians believe the settlers attempted to relocate northward toward the Chesapeake Bay area. This plan had actually been Raleigh's original instruction, but there's no evidence they made it that far. The Chesapeake offered fertile land and friendlier tribes, and Croatoan might have been a clue of their intended allies before moving inland. Chesapeake tribes later reported that a group of strangers once lived among them, though details are hazy and likely secondhand. Still, the idea of relocation resonates. It makes sense that desperate colonists would seek better prospects even if their journey was perilous. Archaeologists have investigated inland areas, especially a spot called Site X in Bertie County. There, English artifacts, ceramics, weapon parts dating to the late 1500s have been discovered. These finds suggest some colonists may have moved inland along the Albemarle Sound, yet the evidence is scattered and not definitive. Were these objects left by survivors, traders, or later settlers? Site X keeps the door open to the theory that small groups splintered off seeking safety. If so, Roanoke's people didn't vanish into thin air. They melted into the wilderness, leaving faint, tantalizing footprints behind. As the scholars delved deeper into their findings, excitement coursed through the room, revealing layers of history long concealed. Meanwhile, the vision of Roanoke's settlers embarking on an inland journey comes to life, illustrating their perseverance in the face of uncertainty. In 2012, scholars uncovered a secret hidden beneath patches on a 16th century map known as La Virginia Pars. Under ultraviolet light, they found a tiny symbol of a fort inland near where Site X lies today. Could John White himself have marked where survivors planned to go? If so, this discovery supports the idea of inland migration. Combined with artifacts, the hidden fort hints that Roanoke settlers may not have perished outright, but sought a quieter refuge. Still, no definitive colony has been unearthed there, leaving us with possibilities instead of certainties. Many believe the colonists joined them. The most famous clue remains the word carved into the post, Croatoan. This points directly to Croatoan Island, today's Hatteras Island, home to the Croatoan tribe led by Menteo, an ally to the English. Stories from descendants on Hatteras claim fair-haired, gray-eyed people lived among their ancestors. Oral traditions support the assimilation theory. If settlers merged with Croatoans, it would explain the lack of bodies and the careful dismantling of homes. Survival, not disappearance, may define the colony's end, an ending that was less mystery and more adaptation. In recent years, archaeologist Mark Horton uncovered European artifacts on Hatteras Island, sword fragments, hammer scale from ironworking, and late 16th century objects. These finds strongly support the idea that Roanoke's colonists integrated with the Croatoans. Rather than vanish, they became part of another culture. This evidence shifts the narrative from tragedy to transformation, yet not all scholars agree. Could these objects have come from later contact or shipwrecks? Archaeology rarely gives simple answers, but each discovery adds weight to the Croatoan theory, bringing the puzzle closer to resolution. In the 1930s, excitement surged when carved stones supposedly written by Eleanor Dare were found across the Southeast, telling a tragic story of massacre and hardship. At first hailed as breakthroughs, most were later exposed as hoaxes created to profit from curiosity. Still, the Dare stones briefly reignited interest in the mystery, reminding us how powerful Roanoke's legend remains. They are so enticing that people will fabricate evidence to feed the mystery. In history, not every clue can be trusted, and Roanoke has attracted more than its share of dubious artifacts. The legend of Roanoke continues to captivate imaginations, a reminder of the fine line between truth and myth. As stories evolve and new discoveries surface, the allure of Roanoke endures, drawing in both historians and adventurers. As stories spread through generations, the Lost Colony transformed into a canvas for the imagination, inviting artists and storytellers to breathe life into its unresolved fate. Each retelling adds a layer to the lore, weaving a rich tapestry of curiosity that binds history and myth together. The Lost Colony seeped into folklore with some tales claiming Virginia Dare grew into a white doe, cursed by magic and shot by hunters, a symbol of lost innocence. These myths highlight how mystery often inspires imagination when evidence is scarce. Even today, Roanoke sparks books, TV shows, and plays. The line between fact and fiction blurs, yet the power of the story endures. Legends may not solve the mystery, but they reveal how deeply it resonates with human curiosity and the need to explain the unexplained. As Manteo navigated the complex dynamics between his people and the newcomers, he found himself in a pivotal role, striving to forge understanding amidst uncertainty. His efforts to mediate and build trust were crucial in an era marked by suspicion and conflict. The town named after him today serves as a reminder of his enduring spirit and the deeper connections that once thrived along these shores. Manteo, the Croatoan leader who allied with the English, became a vital figure in the story. Baptized into Christianity, he was even named Lord of Roanoke by Raleigh's charter. Yet his legacy is often overshadowed by the colonists' fate. Today, the town of Manteo, North Carolina, bears his name, a quiet tribute to his role as a bridge between cultures. His story reminds us that Roanoke isn't just about disappearance, but also about cooperation, survival, and the fragile alliances of a world in collision between native peoples and European newcomers. Why does Roanoke still fascinate us more than 4 centuries later? Because it blends history with enigma, a vanished settlement, a cryptic word, no closure. Human minds crave answers, and where evidence falters, imagination fills the gap. Some mysteries fade, but Roanoke persists, retold in classrooms, novels, and TV dramas. It reflects themes of survival, cultural encounter, and the fragility of new beginnings. More than a whodunit, it symbolizes the uncertainty of exploration and the risks faced by those who dared to start anew in an unknown land. As the sun set on their old world, these pioneers faced an expanse of wilderness ripe with possibility, yet fraught with danger. Each wave crashing against their ship echoed the heartbeat of dreams carried over the ocean. They yearned for prosperity in a new land, even as shadows of doubt crept into their minds. The legacy of Roanoke is not just a tale of disappearance. It is a reflection of human ambition and the courage to explore the uncharted. As researchers delve deeper into history, they uncover more clues that challenge previous assumptions about the Roanoke colony. The faded maps reveal lost connections, while ongoing discussions among archaeologists spark new theories. Each discovery fuels the quest for truth, making the past feel both tantalizingly close and maddeningly out of reach. Modern methods like DNA analysis and ground-penetrating radar may yet offer answers. Some projects aim to trace genetic links between native descendants and Roanoke settlers, though results remain inconclusive. Archaeological digs continue at sites inland and on Hatteras. Each artifact, a shard of pottery, a nail, adds a piece to the puzzle. Though definitive proof is elusive, science steadily narrows possibilities. The colonists likely didn't vanish, but adapted, blending into native cultures. Yet until evidence is ironclad, the mystery retains its haunting allure. These ordinary individuals faced countless challenges, from harsh weather to unfamiliar landscapes, yet they persevered, leaving behind traces of their existence that historians strive to uncover. Each artifact found tells its own tale of hope, struggle, and the determination to forge a new life against all odds. So where do scholars stand? Most now dismiss Spanish attack and total annihilation. The strongest evidence supports a mix of outcomes. Some colonists probably moved inland toward Site X, while others joined the Croatoan on Hatteras. Rather than a single dramatic ending, Roanoke's fate may have been many small stories of survival, assimilation, and loss. This view honors the resilience of ordinary settlers who sought life in a new world, not just their disappearance. In blending with others, they shaped a hidden legacy that still whispers through history. And so, dear friends, the Lost Colony may not be lost at all. Instead of vanishing, the settlers likely adapted, integrating with native allies, scattering into the wilderness, or moving inland. The mystery lives because certainty is missing, but that's what makes Roanoke so captivating. It's less about an ending and more about endless curiosity. What do you think? Were they absorbed into tribes relocated secretly, or did something darker occur? Drop your theory in the comments. Until next time, stay curious, keep questioning, and never stop exploring the mysteries that shape our past. As whispers of their existence linger, imagine the lives they might have built among the tribes, learning new ways to survive, share, and thrive in an unfamiliar land. Visualize their laughter echoing through the trees as they forged connections with those who already called this place home. Could they have embraced a different way of life, or were they forever seeking to return to what they once knew? The Roanoke narrative reminds us that history is not just about facts. It's about the people, their choices, and the paths they chose to take.